Okay, well, that was really, really weird. So I'm hoping that this is going to work now because aside from being at least 2 hours late on my 5 Live, I just tried to do it a minute ago and I realized that for some reason, my screen was black and nothing was happening. So, and in fact, I'm just going to check something else now. Oh, good. Someone is there. That's okay. I wanted to make sure I didn't have it on the wrong settings. Okay, so tonight's 5 Live, or more like 7 Live, but hey, better late than never. Late training's better than no training at all. So, and yeah, I'm sorry if it doesn't look quite like it normally does, but I've had to switch to my phone. For some reason, the screen's black on my laptop, so it's probably something that I'm doing, but anyway. So I apologize, but I wanted to get onto this as quickly as possible for you. So tonight's 5 Live, 7 Live has come from, I don't know if you saw the posts this is what I love. I love it when I post something and then someone sends me a message to say what they got from that post. And then I'm able to say, I tell you what, the question you've just asked me is a little bit complicated, so I'll do a live for you. That is what I love. For me, that's when people say to me, why do you bother to do these lives and share all this information? For me, that's just fantastic. That's what it's all about, sharing real information that can really, really help people. So if you saw the post that I did yesterday, okay, so this was the one where it said it was very simple but very poignant. And when you think about it, what it said was, you don't have relationship problems. And I posted it because I've been working with a lot of people lately who come to me because they understand that something about what they are doing is having a negative effect on their relationships. So the post was, you don't have relationship problems, you have childhood problems disguising themselves as relationship problems. That's what I posted. And what someone went on there to say, and I was so thrilled that she did that, she went and said, oh my goodness, I just had a massive realization from this. And just from those words, she was able to look at her situation and realize that what she said was, I'm my mother. She said, I'm acting out all of my mother's thoughts, feelings. I'm her in my relationships, which was great. That's a great realization because, of course, we're all a product. Thank you. I'm glad you like that. Probably see that. You know, we can all see that in ourselves from time to time. We can see where we pick things up and who we're copying. And there's nothing wrong with who we're copying because as children, that's what we do. We learn from the people around us. So, of course, who they are is who we then mimic. But she had all these realizations. And then at the end, and this is the question that I love, she said, so I've got these realizations. Now, what do I do? How do I fix it? Number one, great that she asked the question. Number two, great that she wants to fix it. She sees it's not her, it's not serving her, it's not how she wants to be. So how do we fix it? And I thought, well, I mean, aside from obviously the therapy that I do, which obviously everyone knows about, can contact me about, but I didn't start here. So I thought, well, if I go back over, I've been doing my own personal development, transformational journey now for nearly 10 years. And I thought, if I go back and start at the beginning, and you have so much more available to you now than I did even then. I mean, this is just this industry, what's available, even the understanding about the mind and how it works and everything everything is coming on in leaps and bounds all the time. We're all becoming far more conscious, far more aware, more self-aware. These things are being adopted in schools, in prisons, you know. We need to get them into the mental health system, which seems woefully behind, but that's another story. But so I thought, well, let me just start at the beginning because I might be using RTT now. And last year, RTT might have been the final stage of a very significant, I have to say, stage of my healing, but it was the last bit. So where did I start? Okay, so let's just say that nearly 10 years ago now, in October 2000. Oh, it's 9 years. 9 years, sorry. October 2010 was when I was suicidal. And I was suicidal because I had extremely low self-esteem, no self-confidence, very high social anxiety, and it all came from the bullying in my childhood when I was at school. And I had lived the whole of my adult life like this, and it was completely destroying who I was. I didn't know who I was. I had no belief in myself at all, and I couldn't see that I had any value or worth. So obviously these days now, when clients come to me and they have these issues, I have great empathy for them, which obviously is very, very useful. So where did I start? Okay, so following a very near suicide, I decided, so let's take this word. I've been through this word with you before. Very, very important words. I decided that I had to change my life. I said, I can't live like this anymore. I have to find out why I feel like this. I have to find out what's wrong with me, because I was certain there was something wrong with me, and I have to fix it. It's a bit like my client yesterday. That's probably why I get so excited, because I know where this leads. So I decided, and that really affected me. That was something I definitely wanted to do. And then I took responsibility. I took responsibility for making it happen, for saying, I don't want to be this person anymore. Now, how do I fix it? So I've asked myself that question. It might have been a long time ago, but I understand that question. Okay, so here's where I started. I started with books. All right, it was pretty much probably mostly what was available then. You know, all the podcasts and everything that I'm going to talk to you about, they weren't available so much then. So I started with books. And there are a huge selection of books out there. Self-help books, books on personal development, self-development, relationship, leadership training, whatever it is you think you need to do, self-confidence, self-esteem, it's all available to you. And it doesn't have to be expensive. Guys, you don't have to buy these books new. You know, obviously if you go to the shop, you're going to get the latest thing about the mind and neurology and things like that. But even the stuff that you get in the secondhand shops, you might pick up stuff that is only a couple of years old. But even the old stuff is going to get you further than you are now. And that's what you need to do. You need to take steps. All right, this is not a giant leap, although in your journey you will make giant leaps. But what you want to do is just be moving forward, finding out what facilitates, what helps your change all the time. And books. Now, books are like everything. There'll be things that I love that you don't, things that you love that I would just go, well, I didn't get anything out of that one. So it's a question of finding, who do you resonate with? And you might read a whole book and just pull out 2 or 3 gems from it. And it will be those gems. They are enough. You do not need to be reading a whole book. I mean, you will read the whole book, but you don't need to get something from every sentence. There will be certain things that really leap out at you. And what I suggest is you make a note of them and decide how they are going to help you and how you are going to apply those to your life. So don't worry about needing to get something out of every page or even every chapter. That's not going to happen. Some of the book will be great. Some of it you'll just go, oh, well, there's nothing there for me. Just work on pulling out the gems. Pull out the gems that serve you, the ones that help you. So now the book that I started with, this is interesting because for most people, this book is too much. It's by a guy called Larry Winget. He's a very famous speaker within the personal development field, Larry Winget, and his book was called Get Out of Your Own Way. So this is the first thing I did, the first book I bought. I saw this book and I think the title, it must have really resonated with me because what I understood was that I was in my own way. I probably hadn't thought of it in those terms before, but that just really leapt out at me. And I thought, yeah, how I think about myself and how I feel is what's in the way. Okay, this book sounds great. So I got this book and I've recommended it to loads of people since. And most people just go, oh no, it's too full on for me, if they try and read it. But for me, it was just like everything that he wrote, all about being in your own way and how you're about making excuses, about not taking responsibility, about blaming other people. And this stuff, I just devoured this. It was like everything in it really meant something to me. And really, I would honestly say that book became my platform. I pulled out of that the main things that I wanted to stop doing. So it was all about the way I thought about myself, the way I reacted to other people, what I felt I deserved in my life, how I would. There was so much. There were probably a dozen to 20 key points in that book that I became immersed in. And they became all the things that I was determined to change in my life. And I just built on that. So start with books, because books is really, really easy. Okay. And then, but remember, try and in the first instance, try and evaluate for yourself. Try and get some clarity about what it is you want to do, what it is you're trying to achieve. If you can't, don't worry, because it will come to you. Okay, but if you can, then you'll have some idea. But otherwise, do what I did. I didn't know. I just went and looked at the books, and that title just really spoke to me. I've got another one here. I've just pulled. I've got shelves of these things, guys. Even at the stage I'm at now, I cannot tell you, I do not stop learning. I am well known to everyone who knows me in business, my friends, my family. I probably do, busy as I am, 1 to 2 hours study a day, studying things to do with my work, to do with hypnosis, watching masterclasses, learning from mentors, reading books. For me, it's absolutely, it's what I love. It's where my constant growth and learning comes from. And it's self-actualization, is personal growth and constant change within yourself. And I absolutely love it. I hate it if I have a day where I can't, even if I sit down and read a couple of chapters of something, I'm just devouring things all the time. So things like this, fight the fear. So if you find that you're really afraid of things, you're afraid of taking risks or of changing things in your life, things like that. This one as well, this was really useful. This is really easy to read, 100 things successful people do, because again, this is broken down into really small things, and you can just read them and you can say, yeah, that's interesting, but it doesn't really apply to me, or that I've got more important things than that. But all of these things are just going to add to what you're doing all the time. So that's books. And then there's my book. So I wrote this book, The Unlikely Seven-Figure Entrepreneur, and I got the title because from my demographic and obviously nearly committing suicide and growing up poor, having no self-confidence and self-esteem, it was extremely unlikely that I was going to run a 7-figure business. But the one I'm building at the moment is my third 7-figure business. So if I can do it, guys, anything is possible. I'm nothing and no one. Seriously, if I can do it, anyone can do it. But this book was really, because as you know, I'm all about the beliefs that keep you stuck, the beliefs in your subconscious that you learn, that form you, that you either absorb from your environment and your upbringing, or from the things that people say about you that become your blueprint. And this book that I wrote was all about my blueprint and my husband's blueprint. Wow, it was amazing. We were both such products of our environment and our upbringing, and we really clashed when we tried to bring those things together. And this book is all about that. It's 10 chapters, and every one of them is a lesson, pulls out our learned beliefs and applies them. I kind of show you how they applied to our life, the problems they caused us, and then how we changed them. So it's pretty useful from that point of view. And every one also, there's an exercise in there. There's every chapter, there's an exercise for you to do to apply to yours. So any books like that really going to help you. So that's books. And of course, if you say you don't like reading, okay, no problem. Well, these days you've got Amazon Audible. Amazon Audible is so cheap. It's so inexpensive to get, and you will get all of the latest self-help books on Audible. That's something else I do. You know, if I don't have a lot of time and I'm on a journey in the car or something, then I have a constant flow of audiobooks as well. And if you don't want to do Audible, you can get CD sets. I'm sure they're really inexpensive now, or you can get them from the library. All I'm saying, guys, is like people say, oh, I haven't got the money. And I appreciate that not everyone has the money to invest in the kind of transformational service that I provide. But not having any money is not an excuse for not starting. Okay, because there are things that you can do that cost. Well, I'm going to show you. So the books, the Audibles, they're things that you can do that really you can do for very little. Don't forget the books from the second-hand shop. But here, what about podcasts? You know, there are literally thousands of podcasts every day, and things like, you know, you've got podcasts, and I include in that YouTube. Have you ever searched on YouTube for a topic that you need to find something about? Put a subject, narcissistic abuse, relationship problems, anything at all, anger management, self-help, personal growth. Put it into YouTube and you will be inundated. I've only been on there a few months myself, and I've already got 50 or 60 videos on my channel. All the things that I teach in my groups, the small videos that I make for courses, for ads, they all go there. And you have got literally thousands of people like me doing that. All the information is there, guys. It's all there for you. Totally free. So you've got totally free on YouTube. Podcasts are free. You've got meetups. Anyone ever used Meetup? So meetups are where you, it's a platform, you look it up online, where it's groups, and you go along to the groups that you are interested in, and people literally run trainings on these particular topics. So you might get it on public speaking, personal development, yoga, meditation. There are meetups across the world for absolutely everything. If you live in a big city, there will be more than you could possibly go to. They have social meetups, but then they have these learning and development meetups as well. You know, for your business, you might have something that's about marketing, or, you know, hiring personnel, whatever. There are loads of them. So there's meetups. And then don't forget all of the free events. So many of the top mentors, trainers, gurus, they run free events, or they run events for a tiny amount. Now, people will say, and again, this is a mindset that you have to get out of. People will say, oh yes, but they only run those events because they want you to do their training afterwards. Yes, they do, but you have choice about that. And the thing about personal growth is that you can get so far by yourself. You can get so far, but something I've said before, information is not transformation. Okay, so a lot of these things you're going to, through what I've said, through short courses, these free events, meetups, books, etc., you are going to pick up a lot of information. But here's the issue. The issue is you're going to pick up all this information, but information is not transformation. So you learn this information, but how do you actually apply it to your life in a way that helps you in the best possible way? And this is where having a coach, a mentor, actually committing and investing in yourself is one of the best things that you can ever do. So if you're going to go to these events, be aware that yes, they want you to buy their product, they want you to take part in their program, but also that if you decide to do that and it is the right program for you, the benefits you will get from it will be enormous, because you're working with someone. You imagine if you decide to work with me one-on-one or in one of my programs, if you get benefit from what I share here, imagine the benefit you get from working with me one-on-one, doing the deep hypnosis, the RTT, the healing with me, you asking me specific questions and us working together on what is very specific to you. So what might happen is you'll do the books, you'll do the audibles, you'll put all this information together, and then you'll say, yes, it's got me so far, but now I'm stuck. Because here's the problem. Change is hard. Change is hard, and one of the hardest things, even if you decide and you get completely committed and you say, I want to change this, what is going to happen is that outside influences will affect you. Definitely, no matter what you try and do, there will be people outside. Maybe your partner will say to you, well, what are you doing that for? What's the point of that? I don't understand. That's a load of rubbish. Okay, and how are you going to feel when they do that? You know, I had this myself. My husband was not, let me tell you, he was not greatly enthusiastic when I first started doing this kind of personal development, self-actualization. He is now, because he understands that it's benefited both of us, but I've had to go through a lot to be very firm and very strong to get him to that point. And I'm lucky because I was surrounded by friends who were very interested in what I was doing and very supportive. And many of them have done the same thing. Okay, my family were a bit indifferent, and that's fine. But what happens? So you have all these ideas about what you want to do. Maybe you want to start your own business. Okay, so you're talking about writing a book or starting a podcast or something. You get really inspired by something you want to do, and then your partner says, oh, what do you want to do that for, and is completely negative about it. So that brings you down, and then you tell your friends and they think it's ridiculous too, and then you've got everyone in your family against you going, what are you doing that for, what a waste, blah 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 blah. You know, you can imagine how it goes, this kind of spiral where everyone is coming against you. That is when you need someone on your team. You need someone on your side who is going to say to you, don't worry, it won't be like this forever. And I believe in you. Let's do this together. I'm on your side. I'm on your team. Don't worry about everyone else. They're just not the right people for you at this time. Let's just focus on what's right for you, and the rest will fall into line. Believe me, guys, having someone on your team when the going gets tough, and sometimes the going gets tough very hard, very fast. It could just be when you take home your first book, or before you even buy your book. You might mention to your partner or to a friend or someone, oh, I really, I'm kind of thinking I need to change my life. I need to change my attitude. I'm not sure about some of my thoughts about myself. Maybe my past is affecting me. And your best friend says, what a load of rubbish. What do you want to do that for? And there you are, before you've even got out the gate. You haven't even bought your first book and someone's attacked you. How do you feel? How do you feel when you've got no one in your corner? So I hope that helps you. I hope that gives you ideas, because the fact is, your life, none of us can control our lives, things that happened to us when we were small. But we all get to a point where we have to take responsibility for where we are at. You might say, well, I couldn't help where I'm at now. Although once you start to do some work, you realize that you played a role. It was your thoughts and actions that allowed you to get into this situation, whatever it is. And I totally own that about where I was too. That was not just about being bullied at school. I had taken that on in a particular way and allowed it to control me, to define me as a person. And I totally accept responsibility for that. And I accept that that could have turned out very differently way before it did. But anyway, I was doing the best with who I was and what I knew, and I made the decision to turn it round. And here's the thing, we're coming, 1 year is closing out, we've got a new year starting. You don't have to wait until the new year to start. In fact, it's probably better if you don't, because then you've got some kind of platform going into the new year. But also there's something about New Year's resolutions that are very unreal. And this is going to be far more real if you decide to do it before New Year. But let's have a look. So from where you are now, what happens in 2020 is your responsibility, your future, your life, the changes that you make, the healing that you bring about, the way that you decide to work on yourself, to invest in yourself, to invest in your relationship, your career, your business, the steps that you decide to take, they are all up to you. You are the one that has the control. So really, when you look ahead at 2020 and you start to think about what do I want for myself and my life in 2020, it's up to you. It's up to you to decide what you want in 2020 and then to take responsibility and say, this is what I want. Now, how am I going to make it happen? Am I just going to read books? Am I going to read books and listen to podcasts and go to free events? Am I going to be really sensible, listen to books, podcasts, free events, do all of these things and get myself a coach and mentor and know that the next 12 months is going to be life-changing for me? And that's it really. I'm not going to go on about the RTT, the hypnotherapy, how I can rapidly change your childhood blueprint, all that kind of thing. You all know it. If you don't, message me. We'll have a private conversation. Happy for you to book into my calendar, spend 30 minutes talking to you about how I can work with you to make your 2020 look very different to your 2019. Because I promise you, if we work together, thank you for that, if we work together, you will change. There's no question. You will change. Your life next year will be different if you work with me to if you don't. That's absolutely guaranteed. But that's entirely up to you, and there are plenty of other things that you can do that are going to cost you far less. And again, that's your choice. Do you want to invest in yourself in that way? Can you invest in that way? You know, sometimes it amazes me that people will say that they can't afford to invest in maybe 3 sessions of this totally transformational therapy, and yet they've just spent $1,000 on the latest iPhone. I'm not sure how the latest iPhone is going to change your life, but if you can uncover and get rid of the thoughts, the beliefs, the perceptions, the conclusions, the attitudes and the behaviors that don't serve you, that is going to skyrocket your life next year in ways that you could not even imagine. But that's what I wanted to share with you. That's what I've got for you. Lots of ways that you can start to work on changing the things that you've decided don't serve you. It doesn't have to be working with me. But mine is the quickest way for sure. But you know, again, it's not for everyone, and I'm happy to share with you all these other methods, and then it's up to you to decide. You decide what 2020 is going to look like for you, what you are going to do about making it your best year ever and bringing about the changes that you need to change, whatever they are and however they will affect you.